Back in 2019, I couldn't get a mortgage. I was broke, unemployed, and had zero property experience. 5 years later, I run a property company that makes £30,000 a month. So what happened in between? Well, in this video, I'm going to take you through each step of the process to explain how I built a portfolio and my earnings. And at the end, I'll teach you the biggest lesson that I've learned along the way and what I do differently if I was starting again. And to start things off, I should probably explain how I got into property flipping by accident. 5 years ago, I was working a 9 to 5, but my dream was to start investing in property. So I used to spend hours and hours researching buy-to-lets, and I became convinced that that was the way to go. So I ended up getting really excited and I quit my job, ready to go all in on property investing. What I didn't realize was you can't actually get a buy-to-let mortgage without a full-time contract. I probably should have checked that first. So as you can imagine, I was pretty worried. I started frantically looking at different property strategies, making random offers, running around in circles, and just getting really, really stressed. I realized I was headed for a pretty stupid mistake if I didn't slow down. So I sat down with my mentor and he explained to me that buying properties to hold and rent out is only a good idea if you're able to move on to another deal after that. At the time, my cash pot was very, very low. So I decided to partner with a friend of mine and go 50-50 on a house flip. We wanted to make sure that it was local because one, the prices were within our budget, and two, we could build a team on the job that could keep a good eye on the quality of work, even alongside a full-time job. And once that was clear, everything became much, much easier. So my first piece of advice for anybody looking to get into property is to sit down and make a plan. It sounds simple, but way too many people jump in feet first. They buy random properties without mapping out their long-term strategy. So before you even start looking, stop and figure out what your budget is, where you want to invest, what type of investing suits your lifestyle, your skill set, your experience, and where you want to be in 5, 10, or even 20 years. So in the end, we bought a house locally to us. We spent £127,000 on the purchase. We spent £15,000 renovating it, and we sold it for £175,000. And after all of our legal costs and selling costs, we were actually left with a profit of £24,300, which we split 50-50. Obviously, as you know, that sum of money wasn't going to change our lives, but it gave me the confidence and the skills to go on to do it again. But after that first flip, I realized I'd also made a huge mistake. Because we spent 16 weeks rather than 6 weeks renovating the house due to delays and just, to be honest, bad management, and it also took us 7 months to actually sell the house. Once the flip was done, I realized, crap, I need to go and actually find another one and do this again, because one house flip wasn't enough to make a living. But I'd spent so much time focused on the first flip, by the time I got round to actually thinking about the second one, it was already too late. I was already under financial pressure again. The money from the first flip was basically gone, and I was back to square one. So the next lesson I learned was that you need to have a reliable pipeline. So here's what I did. I focused on 3 main sourcing strategies: Rightmove, working with agents, and Facebook ads. And we made sure that offers were accepted on properties and that we could purchase those properties as soon as our current projects were ready to sell, rather than completing the sale, making the profit, but then waiting 6 months to find the next property deal. So once we got the process nailed down, we regularly were working on 5 or 6 property projects at once. And we'd also have 12 to 15 properties in legals ready to buy once the 6 to 8 properties were actually finished. So that sorted out my deal flow problem and meant that property went from a hobby to a full-time income and a full-time job. But the problem with having multiple flips on the go was that all my liquidity was tied up in these properties. So even though I had a steady stream of projects, I was under pressure to actually fund them. So the next step was to build out a funding strategy. And this happened in 2 phases. Firstly, I started talking to friends and family. Anyone in my network who would back me at all. I even offered them 50% equity of the first few deals that I did, which might sound crazy, but it actually got me started. And then I just documented everything. I shared all my progress on social media, all my projects, all the financials, all the before and after shots of the property. I documented all of it. And I started then getting more and more requests from investors wanting to invest their capital and wanting me to invest their capital for them. Which, by the way, if you are wanting to get into property and start investing, then you may want to get access to my completely free property investment playbook. You can access it through the link in the description. It's got everything you need to know about getting started in property. But that change allowed us to access a lot more capital, buy way more properties, and take the business to the next level. which meant that I was flipping about 4 properties a year, which roughly equates to about £10,000 per month, which isn't bad, but I was missing out on a lot of money and I was working insane hours. We could barely keep up with the demand and there wasn't even enough hours in the day to work on all of these different projects. But that's due to a classic beginner mistake. I thought I needed to know everything about the renovation on top of all the legal stuff and the finances, and so I spent days figuring out how to complete just basic tasks, trying to save as much money as possible. But my growth was completely stunted, and if I wanted to do more and more flips, I couldn't be everywhere at once doing every single thing. I needed to start acting like a CEO and delegating work, not trying to do all of the work myself. So this is why the next step was to build a team who could take care of everything for me. This included a main contractor who could oversee all the renovation work and a reliable team of professionals like my solicitor, my accountants, even like estate agents for deal finding. And I finally realized that my job is to find deals and raise finance, not manage the day-to-day minuscule, minute tasks. And once I made that mental switch and had those 4 different elements in place, I actually scaled from doing 3 to 4 deals per year and was able to bring on more and more investors and work with more investors to do 3 to 4 deals a month. However, although I'm glad how everything has worked out, if I was to start all over again, I'd have done things slightly differently, because I realized that over time that the biggest returns in property come from the long term, and the best strategy for that is actually buying and holding. So I would have kept my job, I would have found a house that wasn't in great condition, I'd have renovated it and then rented it out as a buy-to-let with a simple buy-to-let mortgage. And then I would have rinsed and repeated that process until I could quit my job and focus full time on that particular strategy. There's also one skill that I wish I'd learned a lot faster, and that is deal analyzing. At the beginning, I wasted weeks trying to find a good property to flip, whereas now I can actually run the numbers and stack it in the space of a few seconds. So if you want to learn how I did that, check out this video next.